love when the bench is clear in Major League Baseball. You know, like right here in the studio right now, I have the Yankees game on, and they're currently down to the Baltimore Orioles. And there was just a scuffle at second base. Guy was trying to catch a ball on a steal. He came down, accidentally spiked a guy, and I guess Henderson or whoever it was at second, I can't really tell right now, but it would appear that he didn't take too kindly to it. Maybe it's Rushman. I can't really tell from this far distance. But I love when the bench is clear in Major League Baseball. Shows me that you have some intensity to you and that you really want to win this game. That's what it tells me. It tells me that a team might have their swagger back too. All I'm saying, speaking of baseball, we will get to Jay Johnson's pregame or preview going into the weekend versus Texas A&M. We will briefly get into some Texas A&M tonight, as well as when we talk about Texas A&M, I'll give you some just key points. Tomorrow, when we're probably over with our good friends over at Service Talk Digital Media, we will be doing a special episode talking about this and breaking them down in more detail. But tonight, we'll just give you some key points to the series here. We'll also talk about the portal. So I know that there's some things flying out there right now about A.J. Halsey, the safety who currently went on a visit to Miami, and LSU also trying to get into the mix here late. I've been telling you from the beginning, and I will continue to tell you that everybody who continue to say, like, look, it's, you know, it's not money related, and then in 24 hours for that narrative to already shift about a player that you're going after in the portal, stop. Guys, stop saying shit's not about money. Stop. You make yourself look like a fool. So, I will say this. What do I think of him as a player? What do I hear? Some things going on. We'll get to that. Do I think LSU needs him? Yeah. Think he's better than some of the safeties that you currently have on your roster. So, yes. So, all the little narratives that fly out about this one, we can touch on. I'm going to tell you what I know, and we'll go from there. Do I think he's a player? And hell, he played against LSU already in Death Valley, if you do remember. Matt McMahon gets a guard out of the transfer portal. We'll bring that up as well. We haven't been really bringing in basketball in here. Maybe I don't know if you guys really necessarily have the appetite for men's basketball. Thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. Would you search out LSU men's basketball content? We do not do a lot of it on the show, and it's maybe for good reason. But I got to bring something up. Last night, I went on a pretty historical rant about the Greg Brooks situation. Tonight, I want to go here because I do feel like it ties into the show. It was reported today by multiple outlets, The Athletic, Bleacher Report, a lot of things, that the Texas Longhorns is intending to spend on their roster about $35 to $40 million. Guys, I've come out here. I've banged the table for what I think that you need to do. Guys, if those roster limits and that money increases for what an every year roster will look like, guys, you're no better than Major League Baseball in the sense of that there is no salary cap. There really isn't, okay? Ironically enough, there really isn't the argument being made that Major League Baseball that does not have a salary cap and college football that does not have a salary cap, there are functioning sports. Major League Baseball has been around a long time. And they hadn't really failed either. And it will continue to be around a very, very long time. As baseball, in my humble opinion, is much more global than any of the big three sports in America, even basketball when it comes to the ratings. You go over to Asia. Shohei Ohtani runs Asia. The viewership that comes out of there is insane. So, with that being said, for what it's worth, it is what it is. You guys spend the money, man. You can't have these discussions in some of these situations, you can have some of these discussions in reference to should I spend the money or not spend the money? Well, where you really should spend the money is in high school recruiting, if we're just being honest. For guys that you know that will be beneficial for you and you instantly getting game changers on your team. That's where it's got to start. It's what Texas has done. Guys, the reason that Texas ultimately is back is because they went out there and spent the money. I mean, there's no other way to slice it. There's no other way to dice it. The reason that they've had multiple Final Fours appearances in college football in the playoff has been because they went out there and they just quite simply spent the money. I will be real with you. I think the Arch Manning thing about him not getting paid to go to Texas is a lie. I don't buy that. I just don't buy that they're not paying him. I think that they don't want anybody knowing that he's getting paid, but he's getting paid. I don't really think that is a – I'm tired of having the conversation of he's the holier than thou, I don't get paid. Everybody's getting broken off a little bit of a piece because $40 million of a roster is not included and you don't have a quarterback inside of that. Now, a lot of you will say that you should not pay high school players coming in to college the amount of money that some of these schools are paying. And all that I will tell you is guys, other teams are doing it and it's benefiting for them. That's the downside of it. It's the downside. So here's what I will say. What I will say is simple because we will talk about A.J. Halsey tonight. You can't back down if you really need a dude. You just can't do it. You cannot do it. Now, you spent a lot of money, and guess what? You're not done. And LSU is in the mix for that. But sometimes I feel like that when we look through college sports through just a glass, like sometimes we take the reality out of it, right? Like the reality out of it in the sense of that like what is going on? Like what is the drama today? Like what are they doing? And some of these things have no logic. Like, for example, I don't think it's fair that you guys have to pay an NIL. I don't think it's fair. I really don't. But it's the world that we live in, unfortunately. It's the world that we will continue to live in, by the way. And if you want your team to be good, great. And if you don't want to spend the money, then fine. You better lower your expectations. And if the money's not there and your expectations is higher than it needs to be, well, then maybe you have your answer. You have to. So when you look at a Blaine Bradford as an example, the safety out of Catholic who's currently committed at Ohio State, you have to see it for what it is and call it what it is. Why does that happen? Why do these teams who historically, when NIL wasn't a thing, were down, now they're back up? Why is that? Well, I think the story's being written. I look at college football through the prism of a lot of times, like, what are we doing? What's the storyline that has nothing revolved around football today? Like, can't believe I'm saying this, but what's going on with Bill Belichick? I mean, listen, I understand that Bill Belichick potentially is dating someone that, well, not even potentially, he is dating someone that could be his granddaughter or his daughter. Maybe not his granddaughter. It's a little harsh. He's dating someone. No. Granddaughter. We look at these things through a prism. We look at these things of, guys, you might not be on board. I get it. I'm going to keep my hard-earned money to my damn self. No one's asking you to do diddly shit. No one. Guys, every year that roster number is going to continue to go up. I think it hits its cap at about 50 million. For me personally, you're not there yet. So when we talk about Texas, it being released today that Texas has pretty much confirmed that they're going to spend about 35 to 40 million on their roster this year from paying players. Guys, you're not touching that. Guys, you're not, they're doubling what you're spending. They are doubling what you're spending. Now, I did make a Major League Baseball reference earlier in this show that they don't have a salary cap and they're thriving, and neither do you. Here's what I would tell you. The two sports that had a salary cap or didn't have a salary cap, Ohio State, who spent the most money in all of college football last year, won the national title. Last year in the World Series, the two teams that faced off against each other were the number 1 and number 2 salaries in Major League Baseball with the LA Dodgers and the New York Yankees. The best talent will ultimately trickle over to those places. Major League Baseball is a little bit different because if a team, there are more competitive teams that could spend the same level of money that you can. Like the Dodgers and the Yankees can spend about the same level of money. And it doesn't matter to them. It simply does not matter. The New York Mets spent how much on like Juan Soto? Like that wouldn't happen in normal time. It wouldn't happen in college football. You might have 3 teams that will pull something like that off. So we'll see. In reference to Bill Belichick, by the way, before we get to some of these comments, in reference to Bill Belichick, brother, she is dictating everything that you're doing. Bill Belichick's girlfriend, I don't know if y'all seen this, but apparently, the whole viral video that's out there, and she not like saying that they're doing an interview and she's saying, I'm not going to let you know where me and Bill met. Well, then the whole conspiracy theory breaks out that she's a hooker. And that's allegedly. I'm not saying she is, but I'm saying that's why I said conspiracy theory. But he met her on a plane and she was doing her homework. That's even worse. What's worse, what would be better in this instance for just an overall PR statement is that she was a hooker. What's worse is that he met her while she was doing college homework on a plane. That just screams horrible. It's probably why she didn't want the answer to be had of where they met. College football, you got to love it. The drama that this sport produces is like any other. It's like any other. You don't see it in any other, really. There's always drama floating around college. So, yeah. Let's get moving here. Rob Boudreaux says, isn't she with him for money? So what's the difference? Probably. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, some of the things that she's doing, him allowing her to do some of the things that she's doing, right? Like, she dictates every little facet. No way. Alexander Taylor says it makes sense how they had the number 1 recruiting class. Texas did have the number 1 recruiting class. Guys, why do you think Cade Phillips flipped? Like, if we want to rip off a Band-Aid here, let's rip off the Band-Aid. The Band-Aid gets ripped off in the sense of that they 1,000% spent more money than you. Brian Kelly confirmed it. When LSU had their signing day this year in high school recruiting, they had one flip on signing day. That was Cade Phillips. Brian Kelly ran to the podium. Please go find it for yourself. I remember this like it was yesterday. He came up to the podium, and I think we clipped it and put it up on social media. We clipped it, and he said that, yeah, one got away today, and the level of money reached a place that we were not comfortable of going to. That is a direct quote. Let me not say direct quote. I just paraphrased what he said, but I am damn close to what he said. Guys, these rosters, in my humble opinion, for college football are going to get up to about 50 million. That's where I think that they will start capping themselves around. If Texas is truly spending $35 to $40 million on the roster, number one, I don't think I'm not going to be convinced anymore that Arch Manning's just not getting paid. I think he is getting paid. There's no way that you're paying that much level of money and your quarterback is the only one not getting a little something. I know that TV revenue money is probably going to be a part of that too, right? Because of the house case and all that. I get all of that. What I would say here is LSU came out and said that they were going to be anywhere between 18 to 22 million. You have another team that's coming out saying 35 to 40. So if that is truly the case, guys, some of these things in college football are going to have to be changed for other sports. They're going to have to be changed for other sports in the sense of, look, I am not trying to say get rid of Title IX, but how do colleges, if they want to be competitive in football, which makes all of their money anyway, and they have to be competitive to stay relevant, how in the world can you continue to fund some of these non-generated sports? It's not – I don't see how they can do it. I don't think that they can do it unless they start going into a little bit of their endowment every year if they want to keep them. But even then, when you pay something here to give something else, I don't know how that floats. And I don't know if there will be endowment money. I don't know if teams will do that or universities will do that, Maybe they will. And maybe things will be fun. But sports on college campuses have been lonesome because I have not seen necessarily schools saying, you know what? Look, when has the university came out and said, hey, listen, we've made so much money because of athletics. Some of this stuff and some of the endowment, we can allocate $5 million a year, $5 million a year to give more to athletics, $10 million a year to give to athletics. Because some of these endowments that these universities have are in the billions. Who do you think manages all that money, by the way? Who manages all that money? Like I will go to LSU's right now for an example. LSU endowment and what it was. They currently sit at $1.06 billion. It was the estimated revenue that they had a value of $664 million. LSU endowment has grown from $926 million in 2019 from well over $1 billion in 2023, says Google. I do not know how everything continues to stay afloat. I will die on my deathbed before I allow college baseball to go anywhere. No way, no how. But when you start getting in these types of situations and you start seeing these things happening, I don't know how they're going to make it without some more funding. I don't. And unfortunately, that has fell upon you as the consumer. You've had to pay more. But in that, I think that some wealthy people are going to come in here and start taking over, or something else will happen and schools and universities will get involved. It's the only other way that I can see that this is happening. But if you're going to sit around the $25 to $30 million budget every year, I would love to know what Oregon's is. Oregon's has got to be close to pushing 25 to 30 million. Got to be. So we'll see. All right. We got a $5 super chat from P. Scott here before we get to the break. She says, AJ would be the cherry on top for this defense, a heavy-hitting safety. We will talk about that next. I don't know if he would be the cherry on top. I do think he could be sprinkles. I don't know, P. Scott, if he's the cherry on top, because I still think, let's see what happens at corner. Let's see what happens with Perkins. Let's see what happens at linebacker. Are you better in the interior of your defensive line? Like, are you better there? That would be the question that I would ask here. We'll see, right? Like we 1,000% will see here. But he can definitely be sprinkles because I think that this defense can be a top 30-ish defense. I really do believe that they could be top 30. And if they're top 30, well, you jump another 20 spots. That means you're making some big plays. Got to get the turnovers. But here's the thing about A.J. Halsey, which we'll talk about next, to P. Scott's $5 super chat. What I would say is pretty simple. You need somebody that will go down there and lay the wood. No pause. Massive pause. Yeah, Lance says LMAO sprinkles. He might be sprinkles. This man's going to commit to LSU, and I've already nicknamed him Sprinkles. My God. What have we done? All right. Let's get moving here. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. Sprinkles. If you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about A.J. Halsey. Was LSU done fighting in the portal? We'll talk a little Jay Johnson A&M, preview that series a little bit. Maybe we'll get some basketball as well. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. BetOnline.ag. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotions. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority. We're back. I see the little beefs happening between USC and LSU coaching staffs on social media. I do think it's a little funny because it is a little funny. Is it not? Am I the only one that thinks it's a little bit funny here? But yes, USC just had a commitment from a receiver from Louisiana that if LSU holds on to the current receivers that they have and potentially get another that they may be going after in recruiting from the high school ranks, I think they're set there. So sometimes you're going to have very talented kids that go elsewhere, but I like the receiving core that they have committed at the current moment. I do. I very, very much do. By the way, we have not, okay, talked about the Saints draft. I just don't feel like I've had a lot of time to do that. I will say this. I don't think the Saints had a bad draft at all. I really don't. I love the Devin Neal pickup, the running back out of Kansas. I hope that kid plays here a while. He has the ability. During the breaks, I go and scroll Twitter or whatever, and John Hendricks, who's been on the show a lot of times, came on the show a lot of times, put out an article today about Devin Neal. I feel like they might have gotten a steal with a couple of these guys. Like Danny Stutzman, I think, was a steal for the Saints. I do think that Devin Neal was a steal for the Saints. I know a lot of people are mad about the Shuck thing. I think that you need to go watch some games. I don't know how good or bad he will be. He did make some impressive throws. Kelvin Banks, I think, ultimately is a guard in the NFL, and I think he could be a really good guard. I just never thought that he would be a tackle. I think he's a guard playing left tackle. Maybe they put him out there. They move Fuaga over to right tackle. Cool. Give it a shot. I ultimately think Kelvin Banks may be a guard. Maybe I'm wrong there. Very much could be wrong there. In reference to the draft, I thought that they had a really good one. When I do look at their draft, by the way, when I look at the guys that they did go and get in the draft, like I like Quincy Riley, the DB. I don't know enough about Vernon Broughton, the safety. Let's see what happens there. I like the Fadil Diggs pickup in the 7th round. I thought that was a really good ad, and especially in the 7th round. But you get Stutzman, you get Sanker, the safety. They went back-to-back safeties in the draft too. I don't mind that. I think they need some help there. And the defense that they're going to play, they need a lot of safeties. Go get them. Go get them. Stutzman might be a little bit of a steal. He's a guy that can instantly, year one as a rookie, make the roster. And not only make the roster, he's going to kill it on special teams for you. The kid can really play. We should remember as LSU fans. So I thought all in all a good draft. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was bad. I think it was a solid draft. Maybe some of these guys will hit here. Maybe Tyler Shuck. Maybe everybody's just counting him out a little bit too much here. So I guess we'll just see there as well and see what happens. But let's get to some LSU here. So a lot of buzz happening right now in the transfer portal world. Is LSU in a dogfight in the transfer portal when it comes to college football? I think they could be. I certainly think that at this exact point, it kind of lines up to what we've been saying. So if you've been watching what we've been talking about in the transfer portal last couple of weeks, I know it's been somewhat a little bit scarce. We've talked a lot about defensive tackle. We've talked, actually, all that we have talked about is defensive tackle. And the other position that we've brought up is safety. We have not spent any time on this show at all talking about offensive linemen, even though I think they needed one in the portal. They're at the current moment, they're not in the search of anything for that or with that. And Brian Kelly's kind of made those statements. If the fit was right, there's been no fit, at least from them going after anybody, at least hard enough to where you can think you could get somebody. Maybe that changes in the near future. I highly doubt that it will change in the near future. But defensive tackle, you go and get one in Bernard Gooden. And now LSU is trying to position themselves, as we've been mentioning and talking about, with A.J. Halsey. In reference to A.J. Halsey, who has been on a Miami visit, LSU, and we've talked about this. From the very beginning, we'll go bring it up if I need to. In the very beginning, when everybody said, no, LSU's not going for anybody, I was like, no, they're making contact. They're making contact with guys like A.J. Halsey. 1,000% they've made contact with him as soon as he entered the portal. In the beginning of it, I think they backed off. And the reason that they backed off was because the kid was demanding. I don't want to say demanding, but maybe the price tag was a little too rich for them. I would speculate that maybe that price tag has come down a little bit and where they can be competitive for it, or where they think that and give an NIL number to A.J. Halsey that they see benefit to them that's at high value. And we've talked about all that before today. Anybody that said that this wasn't a going back and forth in reference to NIL and money was a joke. We literally talked about that yesterday. There was a narrative out there when LSU started getting involved with the Houston transfer safety in A.J. Halsey, We literally had a conversation yesterday about this and said, what did we say? The part of it is that, look, there's a narrative out there that you're not in an NIL fight. That was always dog shit. It was always wrong. Well, today the narrative is, if you've been following this, because it's all over social media with the kid, is what? Is that somebody at Miami, a reporter over in Miami said, hey, I don't like LSU and what they're doing here. So it brings in interest. Either the kid's going to decide to come on a visit to LSU because you've put a good enough package that he sees quality in it, or the kid goes to Miami or somewhere else. But LSU is trying to get this young man on a visit. Here's what, now that we got that underway, now that we have talked about, this has been 2 weeks. This has been at least 3 times a week about talking about A.J. Hawsey. About Blake, are they going after him? Blake, they're going after him. Guys, they're making contact, but they ain't got any kind of visit or anything. Not like they did with Bernard Gooden. That one went pretty quickly. That's what it looks like. Guy comes on visit, guy gets NIL package, guy commits. Because these guys that are in the portal, they don't got time to waste. They're not going to go on visits just to go on visits. This kid went to Miami. I pray to God. Here's what I pray to God that happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know at the current moment that he's going to come on a visit. I hope that he does. I have no idea at the current moment if he's going to accept or even like what you put forward to him in an NIL package. Maybe Miami's is more. I would assume it is based off of their track record. Well, they did that to you with Poyser, the safety from Jacksonville State, for a safety. They desperately need safeties too in Miami. Just go look at them a year ago and how bad their safety play was. And I don't think it was all on their defensive coordinator, who is now at LSU, ironically. In reference to the kid, in reference to the player, I would definitely go after him if you think the money's right, even if you can match. I would assume, and we've talked about this part too, that there have been discussions, debates inside that building at LSU football ops to go out and spend the money or stay idle, to go out and spend the money or stay idle. If LSU only gets Bernard Gooden, they're going to say that it was a good fit. We thought that they stay, he would be a good fit for us, but we didn't really go after anybody. That's not true. When you're giving a kid an NIL package to try to bring him in on a visit, like we've been pretty much talking about this whole time, you want him. You're actively in it. I think this side of go get the player has won to some extent. Not to go crazy and probably match the level of money that he wants, but I really don't know what's going to happen. I hope that we get him. That is the bottom line. I hope that we get him. I hope that we do spend the money. If it were you ask me what to do, I'm not worried about the culture inside the locker room. Everybody's getting paid. If you need something that can potentially get you to the playoff and you're winning and you're on a track of being 10-2, kids inside that locker room are not going to be thinking about the level of money that kid makes if he can come here and play. If you're going to give him the level of money that you are going to be paying him, he better come in here and play. Or he accepts your offer. I do not know. But as a player, we have seen him before. In 2022, when LSU played New Mexico and won 38-0, one of, if not the only shutout that Brian Kelly has gotten at LSU was that game. He came in here and had a 10 tackle performance against you. Now, their roster and their offense was horrendous. They let Matt House hold them to 0 points. Think of how bad you got to be offensively if Matt House is holding you to 0 points. In that, defensively, they were on the field a lot against Jaden and company, where you just lined up and ran the football. Well, this kid came down in the SEC game and had 10 tackles. That's it. And before we're going to say that LSU in 2022 was not necessarily the best team, because they weren't. They were 9-3. But they won the SEC West that year. Because you better remember who LSU was in 2022. In 2022, you were really downhill. And you would RPO with Jaden behind it. Because you had Noah Cain that had 10 rushing touchdowns that year. He came in here and had 10 tackles. He came into Baton Rouge on a really bad team and had 10 tackles. I think you need to go and get him. I 1,000% do. Because if he can go out there and get tackles against Jaden, against the running game that you had that year, I think you need to go and do it. Over the last couple of years at Houston, so he's in New Mexico, gets in the portal, goes to Houston. In 2023, he had 98 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, no interceptions. This year in Willie Fritz, when he was asked to do something a little bit different, instead of being more downhill and in the box and getting tackles, what he was he played a little bit more free. And in that free safety role, he did have 5 interceptions. Because he has more interceptions than everybody in your DB room combined, not named Mansour Delane. If you're bringing back a career total of 12 interceptions, regardless of what conference, you got to take a chance on it. Because one thing is for certain, you have not, outside of a couple of games with Zy Alexander, where you've really had turnover-worthy plays, where you've caught some interceptions, where you've made some good plays in the secondary or at safety and picked somebody off. You hadn't done that. Now, there were a couple of balls that were thrown, but like I think of Jackson Darts against Ole Miss. But basically, Zy Alexander just ran under it like he was a center fielder, like his name was Chris Stanfield, and he runs underneath it and he makes a great play on it. But you know what I'm trying to talk about. One-on-one, great play, knocking the ball down, getting an interception when it warrants it. The kid showed some serious ball skills in the Big 12. But he also does have the ability to come down in the box, and he's a willing tackler. I don't know if you have a safety right now that will do what he will do. I don't. And if you remember, so going back to the first part of this, I said, I don't know if LSU is going to get in dog fights in the portal when it came to money. And I don't think that they're going to get in a dog fight here with Miami. I don't think. I hope that they do. I really hope that they do. I know that the production that A.J. Halsey has is in a lower conference. I get that. You are somewhat taking a risk. But I also have a game against an SEC opponent where he literally came into your house and had a 10-tackle performance and was coming downhill and making tackles, had a tackle on Jaden. Go watch the game for yourself. Go watch it for yourself. I mean, like, it's not as if the kid didn't come in here and make plays, because he did make plays. And he made him against a future Heisman Trophy contender and a winner, not just contender, a winner. I would get in the dogfight. But I cannot come out here and confidently tell you either way. I can't come out here and confidently tell you that I think that they will. I don't know if they will. My gut tells me that they won't. But I think if they get a hair up their ass and something happens, that they start getting a massive donation to the collective. And on that memo sheet, it says, go get the safety. Maybe they do. But you paid a lot of kids in the winter portal, and you worried about money? Like, you're worried about culture when you went out there and spent that level of money in the portal. No, what it would seem is that maybe you can scrounge some more funds together. Maybe you can find the money. What I think they're trying to do is that they will get in the dogfight if they get enough money to get in the dogfight. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like to me if they can find the money, they'll get in the dogfight. But anybody that has money ain't going to back down from the poker table. The guy that starts getting conservative at the poker table is literally the guy that is holding on to maybe a very minimal amount of chips. And the guy at the other end that's got stacks on stacks on stacks and racks on racks on racks, as the great prophet once said. If they found some extra cash, I think that you would be betting a little bit differently at the poker table. Before that river comes and it's flipped over, are you going to get enough? Can you go and get enough to get a kid that, guys, quite frankly, I do think that you need? LSU posted their best highlights of the spring. And every time that you have a really good play for somebody, that means that somebody else did not make the play when you go against your own team. Guys, 3 of the biggest plays came against non-tackles when they were going to the ground tackling, where the safety did not make the play to limit damage. Or the safety didn't make a play when a short route was completed and you're getting hurdled. Guys, please go watch some of the best plays from that LSU posted from spring. And then you come back in here and you tell me that the narrative that Blake Ruffino is pushing, but that the narrative that and the things that we talked about, because it's not a narrative from us, but that the thing that you think that I was pushing wasn't a reality when you see those plays. The guy at the poker table that's got all the chips is not going to back down. It's not going to back down. The dude that starts getting conservative at the end when his chips are low, that's the guy that if he had an influx of cash, one big hand that he hits, the tides can turn. You start winning around here, they're going to find money. Brian Kelly gets to a playoff this year, somehow, miraculously, they're going to find money. They're going to find what they need to find. Because that's fun. We went to Tempe, Arizona, and we took on Boise State, and we won that one. I can't believe we're going to round 2. We're going to round 2. We're going to Miami. Oh, shit, we got Miami in Miami. Let's just say you lose. I don't think you would, but let's just say you lost. You don't think people would line up and do that again? Because I do. I 1,000% do. I think the kid can play personally. I think he's better than what you have right now. I think that it is a just bona fide I don't even think it's a question. I really don't think it's a question anymore. So to wrap this little part up here, last night we had a segment about defense, and in that segment, go find it from last night's show. It's at the end of the show. And last night's discussion, and even in the title, in the if I'm not mistaken, the title in the cover art was basically hinting at that we were going to talk about, do I think LSU can move up defensively? Last year, Blake Baker brought LSU's defense, and they jumped up from a total defensive standpoint up 50 points. 107 to I think they finished at 57. So damn near you doubled in being better. Okay? In that, when they jumped up that much, I do think that your turnovers offensively did not counteract, even though you got better defensively a year ago. Guys, LSU, for what it's worth, I know that some parts of them defensively were so bad. The running game at times, not being able to stop a running quarterback. But guys, from a statistical analysis standpoint, from the overall numbers standpoint, you got better. You got better. Could adding a kid like AJ Halsey move you up to getting into the top 30 where I think you could be because of what you've shown at edge, because of what you've shown at corner? Maybe if you get this kid, if you have a bona fide safety, if Perkins does play, even if he plays the level of 2023 at star, I think you're going to be ultimately fine. There's a lot of questions that could be had. If you came in here and you told me that, Blake, they're going to be like if you told me in December, if we were sitting here and you said, Blake, LSU finished total defense at 30, I would be honest with you, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked at all because I do see a lot of improvement there. I do see a lot of improvement, especially at edge, even in the interior of the defensive line to some extent, and especially at corner. I see a lot of improvement. Now, I don't think offensively there's been a lot of improvement, if I'm being honest, but y'all kill me when I say that. But defensively, this kid get added, you could be working with something. You could be working with something. We will see. The analogy that I will continue to use, the guy that's got a lot of chips at the poker table ain't going to just be walking away. He got some money to spend to take some risks. You got to take a risk at safety. Now, I saw somebody in here said the tight end hurdled someone today. It wasn't today. It was a couple of weeks ago, but Bauer Sharp hurdled the safety. Kane Durham made Tamarcus Cooley miss, I think, for a TD. Trey Green's ridiculous catch. Corner, the multiple interceptions that they had there, and just a lot of the PBUs that they had. I mean, guys, you saw it in the best plays from this spring. I mean, like, we're literally going out there seeing, like, big Caden Durham runs. In those big Caden Durham runs, the safety is coming down to make the tackle, and it is missed. Caden Durham is making them miss, and that's a really good thing that he's making them miss. But in that, you would at least want, of the two big, long runs that Caden Durham had this spring, take him down at least once. Take him down at least once. I mean, like, get to him, maybe not stop him, but slow him down. Slow him down. And by the way, where's the contain? It's a linebacker issue, edge issue. So look, go get the kid, spend the money. I don't want to hear about culture of a locker room when you've already done it. One more kid and adding a kid that you're having to pay is not going to change your locker room in reference to the overall totality of things. Guys, you brought in Mansour Delane and Patrick Payton and Jack Pyburn. Guys, those dudes got paid. Michael Van Buren got paid. Everybody got paid that came in that portal. They got paid. Don't tell me that the locker room now just gets fractured more. But by the way, the guys that were already on that roster are getting paid. Just because you came from high school and this kid came from another college, you're mad about it? Brother, they're bringing in DJ Pickett. They were about to do something with Bryce Underwood that was unprecedented. And you're mad about what exactly? Nobody on this team has any way. Nobody on this team, no one, not one person can be saying that they're better than anybody else because some of them have also not performed. Nobody. Not here. Not here. You haven't performed. So you can't be looking at another man's money. All right. Spent a little bit too much time on that. Than probably we intended. All right. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about a little bit about A&M, Jay Johnson's press conference. Maybe we'll get to some LSU basketball here as well. Let me tell you about our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media with the right leads, smart systems, real growth. You do need to get the marketing system that works for you today. Go over to servicehawk.io. That's servicehawk.io. If you're an HVAC work, electrical work, generator pros, roofing, whatever you do, when people need help for their home, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to go over to Google and they're going to type in Roofing and Company and Dear Me. The marketing system for your business needs to be fixed. You need to go over to Service Hawk Media today. Service Hawk Digital Marketing. Go over, talk to Lee, talk to Justin. They will get you a plan in place. And our good friends over at kettle.shop/AYS. That's kettle.shop/AYS. You can win the Rolex watch off of Will Campbell's wrist from the NFL draft and the day that he flew to Foxborough and was introduced as the number 4 overall pick. You could also get signed helmets and a signed football if you do a $10 entry into kettle.shop/AYS. That's kettle.shop/AYS today. Go get some stuff from Will Campbell. They're really cool. All right, let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about A&M. Jay Johnson next. Stay with us. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Uh-oh. Let's do that again. By the way, I see a lot of you are hitting us up on Twitter that y'all just watched this. Y'all just watched the Devin Neal, the Kansas running back that the Saints drafted. Y'all just watched his Colorado game. Dude's a beast, bro. Dude is an outright stud muffin, bro. Pause. Kid's a dude. They got a steal with Devin Neal, I think. We'll see. All right, LSU recap and Texas A&M preview. So last night, LSU took on the Southeastern Lions right here from Hammond, Louisiana, and had a really, really good night. Look, back-to-back games, you've run-ruled your opponent. That is being on fire. Pause yourselves. This is baseball. I don't know if you're going to run-rule A&M at all this weekend, but in that, the last two games that you face against Tennessee and a team that will be in the postseason more than likely in the Southeastern Lions, you run-ruled them. Now, Southeastern does have a Friday night guy that is going to be a first-round pick. He's led them a lot this year. But that team that you faced last night, that you made look really bad at the plate, I don't think people realize how good they are. Blake, it's a midweek. It's a lower opponent. Okay. Because that is a playoff team that you run-ruled last night. You just run-ruled potentially your first or second opponent in a regional. You dismantled them. You know, last year when you had Wofford, remember Zach Cowan's team? Boy, a walk-off. Huh? No. This team's going to win the Southland Conference. They're 18-6. They're 33-12. They got three guys that have hit over 10 home runs, and William Schmidt and This bullpen, outside of the William Schmidt bomb and the other run that he gave up, other than that, you shut them down. They didn't do anything. Brother, they came in here and got locked down. And I get what you're going to say. I understand that Blakett's a low opponent. I'm not saying that you just beat the New York freaking Yankees. Not even close. What you did do was you just dismantled a conference champion. Baseball is a weird sport where 1 week you can face Northwestern State and get run ruled your damn self. And then you turn around a week later and you run rule the same conference that they're in. You run rule the champion. I feel like I saw a team last night, though, that was playing with a lot of confidence coming out of that Tennessee win. You know, the Tennessee victory, a lot of you asked me, if you remember, during last week, like, hey, Blake, of all the series that you think that LSU needs to win, and what series do they need to win to kind of like make you feel like that they're good? Well, Tennessee, to be honest with you, is what I said. And they did. They found a way to win that series. Good on them. Wasn't always pretty, but they found a way to win. Saw a team last night that actually gave a shit about a midweek. And it started off and it led off with a freshman in Derek Curiel. He leads off the game hitting an Oppo Taco. The dude's 6 for 6 in his last 2 games. Now, I hope that translates into this weekend. Let's hope that it does. Don't tell me that the momentum doesn't matter. Don't tell me that it doesn't matter. Because I saw a team dismantle what a team that is projected to be in your regional, by the way, in Southeastern. Now, I don't know if the president of the selection committee is going to like that or not, or if he would even send them there. But what I do know is, goddamn strong team that you just dismantled. Last night, there were a couple of things that stood out to me. Let's go to William Schmidt first, since we didn't do a postgame. 3 1/3 innings pitch, gave up 4 hits and 2 runs. He struck out the side, and one of them had a pair of strikeouts in the first inning because he gave you 2 really solid innings. And I thought Jay in his postgame and today's press conference said something very unique about William Schmidt. And basically it was I feel as if that he basically is saying, meaning Jay, about William Schmidt, exactly what he was saying again about Cade Anderson a year ago. Now, the Southeastern team from a year ago that Cade got double-digit strikeouts in, that's not the team that you just faced. The team that you just faced is a lot better. So even in the performance that Cade Anderson had, which was electric, and you saw Cade have something, last night I thought we saw William Schmidt, who's not one of your starters, in the weekend, go out there and give you a solid 3 1/3 innings. If you get that from him and the way in some of it he was doing against a playoff team, any playoff team, I think I will take that. But Jay made an analogy to an old pitcher that Nate Yeskie had. And you can go listen to the press conference yourself. But in that, look, I just have a lot of confidence with where Jay and Yeskie are and the things that they're doing. Because there's no way that you can't see some of the good things that William Schmidt has done. Some of the good things, not all great for these freshmen, but Cooper Williams, can they get Jacob Myers or up to speed a little bit and get him a little bit more consistent? I see what they see. I see the development. Guys, you have a lot of freshmen that are contributing at a high level for you right now. You may think that William Schmidt's not giving you anything. Guys, I'm old enough to remember with Paul Maneri and even the first couple of years of Jay, he didn't have anyone that can come in the midweek and throw strikes. Couldn't throw strikes. This kid's coming in here giving you 3 1/3 innings, and guys, 95 to 97 plays anywhere. And that kid's a freshman. We wanted William Schmidt to come in here and look like Casey Evans. And for what it's worth, I understand what you're saying. And if you had another one of the Casey Evans, if William Schmidt was performing to that level, guys, you would be a national title contender already. You are looking for those more arms. But Jay Norieski or anybody's giving up on William Schmidt. And when does he have that breakout game? When does he have that breakout relief or breakout start? When does that happen for him? I do think it will. Last night he gave up a home run to a guy that's got double-digit home runs. Guys, they're going to – we talked about this yesterday. Southeastern can swing that thing now. Don't think it's a game. I don't care what division level you're in. Danny Dickinson had double-digit home runs at Utah Valley State. He's coming to the SEC so far, and by the end of the season, guess what? He's going to have double-digit home runs. Not the same amount, probably, than what he had a year ago at Utah Valley. But, guys, quite frankly, in baseball, this dude's going to have double-digit home runs in the SEC. Do we say the SEC sucks? You did really good against a lineup that was trying to come in here and win. The thing is that you had a bullpen that came in after William Schmidt that just flat out dominated. Jay said something very unique last night and today as well that I take here. Guys, that was as sharp as Jay Newt that I'd seen all year. That's his fastball. I don't know if it's a two-seam. I don't know what it is. But the one where he painted on the strikeout, a two-seam fastball, at least you could see the movement go back in. He's throwing it at his hip. It moved wickedly. Guys, last night he was dialing and he was dealing. Man, I think you could have, and we'll talk about A&M here in just a second. Are you gaining confidence over what just happened this weekend? A baseball team that feels like that they're having confidence goes a long way. And I think that Michael Braswell, for what it's worth, all but said that last night in his interview. And I know that he didn't like the whole thing being posted about I was 0-11 for Tennessee and I don't really like those guys. He didn't mean it in a derogatory way at all. He didn't mean it like that. And I know it kind of got to him a little bit. Braswell, you're fine, bro. You're fine. Like, no one took what you're saying out of context. They don't like you, by the way. They don't like you at all. They would say the same thing, that they don't like you. So who gives a shit? What I would say here, too, though, is I look at a guy like Braswell, what that meant. And I think about a guy like Braswell in this instance, too. Guys, he said something today that got missed. Last night that got missed. Michael Braswell, going into the series, had never won a game against Tennessee. He was 0-11. Guys, he hit 2 bombs on the weekend. You think that kid was locked in and focused? Guys, here's your starting third baseman. You can't go back to Tanner Reeves. Good on Brazzy. That's what the hell I'm talking about. A senior that just, quite frankly, it kind of feels like a Beloso. Not with as much power. Beloso was in and out of the lineup in the beginning. Guys, Beloso didn't start until halfway through the year. He did not. Go back and look at it. All of the level of starts. My man came on and started blasting. A super senior. Who, guys, I don't know if Brazzy plays at the next level. No clue. But this team, to me, I thought last night was a fantastic performance. That's the way you do it. That's the way it needs to look like. That's how you go out there and be focused, locked in, and dominate an opponent. And it started with your freshman. You had a freshman on the mound last night, and you had a freshman leading off. True freshman, by the way, too. They keep leading it. I need to bring this up. I didn't bring it up after the weekend, but I need to bring it up now. Remember when y'all tried to convince me that Bear Jones was in a slump? Remember that? And your boy came out here and said, y'all need to calm down. You need to calm your asses down. Then he had a walk-off home run. Then he had a double and then another double. And, well, he had a damn good weekend. Then he hit a home run again last night. Bear Jones, even in the Alabama series, when we said, guys, he hit a home run on Sunday, and then, well, he hit an RBI double in the right center field that won you the game on Saturday. I don't feel like Bear Jones, or that Friday, the game 2, I don't feel like Bear Jones is in a slump. I think he maybe a mini slump, but he's hitting guys, he's getting some big hits for you. You know who is in a slump? Stephen Milam. That's a slump. I do wonder if everything about playing the position of shortstop is taking a little bit hold of him. He is not seeing the baseball well at all. At all. He is swinging pitches well above his head, and he's not a big guy, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. He is not. He is not a big guy at all. He's in a slump. Great hitters get out of him. That guy's got ice in his veins, though. Even in this slump, even in the mini slump or even massive slump that you think that he's been in. On Saturday, when you're down 3-0, he hit a bomb in right field. The Thursday night game in game 1 versus Alabama, he hit a bomb there too that left the stadium. I know that he's struggling. Great hitters don't stay down long. And we're going to see how much he's got here. I'm not freaking out on Stephen Milam yet. At some point, he's going to have to break out of it, or it's just going to be one of those sophomore seasons that just didn't hit for somebody. I think he's going to get out of it. Hopefully, he gets out of it this weekend. Okay. Tomorrow, we're going to go over to our good friends over at Service Hog Digital Media. We're going to give a really big deep dive into Texas A&M and that series. There are a couple of things I want to bring up about Texas A&M. Texas A&M came into the season, the preseason #1 overall team. And as I told you in February, as I told you in March, and if you listen to my segments and being on with Chris Phillips over at SEC Unfiltered, you would know that I have always been saying that I just do not know if I don't know if A&M is showing me enough in the beginning of the season. Well, they went on a massive slide. You know the story about what's going on with A&M. Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now as we're wrapping this show up, they are dangerous as shit now. They are dangerous as shit. Because they have not lived up to the expectations for them at the plate. That is the truth. I know that they've had some issues with pitching. I know, and even some of the fact that they went on an 8-game winning streak to kind of get back into this thing. Then they got swept by Texas, who's the #1 team in the SEC right now. They are a dangerous team. They are 8-3 in their last 11 games. 8-3. They have started swinging the bat now. They couldn't against their former coach in Texas. But, man, Keel, Hensler, Chase Laviolette, Caden Kent, because those are the same guys that were on that team and were starters outside of Keel last year. Shot. You're going into Bluebell. You're going to the heart of the ice cream factory with bubbles flying everywhere. You had a magnificent series this weekend. How do you respond? A&M has got their backs up against the wall. I don't like it. You can, and I think you will, win the series. But you're going to have to be laser focused. Laser focused. Guys, they are going to be coming out swinging now. They don't have a choice. Their season's on the line. Let's see what you do with it. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.